Gave a vote there, so. Okay, so I call this work session of the Mayor and Council to order. During the work session, the Mayor and City Council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Witz announced that certain matters should be discussed in a closed session of the meeting and asked Council to advise the city with respect to closing the meeting. City Attorney Tony Powell advised the city of the following reasons to close the meeting: to discuss pending and/or potential litigation, settlement claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions which is exempt from the Open Meetings Act pursuant to OCGA Section 15-14-2, subparagraph 1. The authorized negotiation to purchase, dispose of, or lease property, authorize the ordering of an appraisal related to the acquisition or disposal of real estate, enter into a contract to purchase, dispose of, or lease property, subject to approval and subsequent public vote, or enter into an option to purchase, dispose of, or lease real estate subject to approval, and subsequent public vote, which is excluded from the Open Meeting Act pursuant to Section 50-14-3, subsection B, subsection 1, subsection C. Upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal of periodic evaluation of rating of a public officer or employee, which is excluded from OCGA Section 50-14-3, subsection B, subsection 2. By a motion of Council Member Marmol, and seconded by Council Member
Lenski.
The meeting was closed with the following members and the mayor present voting. Tom Witz, yes. Bobby Howard.
Yes.
Christy Linsky.
Yes.
Roger Marmol.
Yes.
Can we add the others as they appear? Just let them know we're in exec session.
I think once you have a quorum and.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You can add their signatures to the meeting,
Okay.
but I would show them as absent at this point.
Okay,
No, I would have it in here.
you got it, okay. But I don't put voting, no, I don't put, okay. All right, let's close the door.
Need a first chair.
I don't have a gavel in here, so I just want to ask y'all to come to order if you would, so we can get started with our work session. I call our, since we just left our executive session, I'll call our work session now back into order. First thing we'll do is give it to Mr. Sanders to go over our ongoing project.
All right. Attached, you have what Barbara requested last time, which are the liaison appointments and the committees, as I believe they are, with one change. I think in the Snellville Development Authority, Mr. Scott, being a non-resident, will not be allowed to serve. So if you will take Mr. Scott's name off, I think.
Is he off of it?
What's that?
Sam Roper?
Sam's on. Sam's not on here.
You were right.
Okay.
He's off.
All right.
There are two vacancies.
Right, we have two minutes.
You want to rope?
What's that? Give another copy. I left my copy in the. Do you have another one yourself? No, go ahead.
On the charter committee, you might want to take one of the D's off of Todd's name before he sees that.
Just because his mother couldn't spell it right doesn't mean we can.
I know, but he'll say something about it and every time you see him.
We'll definitely address that. All right. And I just want to say for the citizens here and the public, I wish that we could be more forthcoming on some of these items, but they are in a certain state that we just can't be. Because, you know, we're dealing with private sector folks and folks that you will know about down the road, but a lot of what I say on these updates seems kind of cryptic to you and maybe incomplete, but I hope you'll be patient with us, and over time everything will become clearer.
Nothing bad on here, I promise you that. You
No,
gotta trust us, it's all good.
But.
Trust us, we're from the
so-
government.
Here to help.
That goes over really well, I'm just,
You'll understand in time. The town center working plan. Here, just to start right here, what I was saying. We stay in touch with all interested parties. We continue to try to make progress on all fronts, coordinating with all groups. Clark Patterson is working on updating the plan in their 4 small areas. Hopefully, we will have a report back. I think it is the timeline is to be complete with that report before the end of April. So that's working in conjunction with the UDO progress, and so there'll be more on that as we move along. But it is ongoing, definitely. The joint city and county plans for the library. Obviously, the milestone date is most likely the SPLOST election date in November. We are laying the groundwork, and we do have a meeting set with an engineering firm that has experience building libraries, especially for Gwinnett County, so we can keep that discussion going regarding town center library construction. So we'll report back on the meeting with the engineering firm after that occurs. Town Center Public Relations, I put our meeting with the Council on Quality Growth under that. I think it was very positive. We heard from successful developers, planners, and engineers from all over the metro area. And I think they added a lot to our knowledge base when it comes to developing a successful town center. What it's going to take. We talked a little bit about regulations, development regulations, and our ordinances. Obviously, some of those folks come from the development side. They want fewer regulations, but then you hear from the engineers and the consultants who say you still need enough to maintain control. So I felt like we've got some good information. I hope that everybody who went, I hope you felt like it was worth your time. Public relations, broadcast and video. Brian presented the little mock-up of the brochure last time. He continues to pursue that. We have Eric and Brian in charge here. There have been some very good things that we can update you on from the website, another item on here. But this...
Back to the broadcast, the brochure, when do we have, is that ready to go to the printer? Is
Actually, I
that,
met with the ladies today who I'm working with to get it printed. I'm gonna have a mock-up and a deadline, a full one, before I send it to them. I'll make sure you guys get a look at it.
what kind of date do we have on that? When are you gonna have it from down?
I was
to look
assured
at?
that we will have it back in time for Snellville days, but,
That's printed and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
when are you gonna have it, that's for review?
I could probably have that done within, before next council meeting.
Okay, so let's put a date of next council meeting to have it by then, okay? That'll be what, 3/28, is that right? Okay.
The coup continues internally. Roy is not here this week. Had a meeting last week with him. I feel like we're getting closer to putting everything together there. We'll need to meet back with Lawrenceville again.
Our instruction was to put together an upper level of cooperation agreement for the 2 cities, and that draft's in my inbox. So we should be able to get it to you next week.
Maybe we can talk about that later this week. City
So,
Compin.
That can be presented at 3/28 also?
It can be.
City compensation survey. Tony, I appreciate you sending me what you had. We're adding that. We're also adding some new information we've gotten from the Department of Community Affairs. So that's taking shape. I feel like we have a database that everybody will be comfortable with, and that we can very clearly show you where the numbers came from, not only salary, but benefits. And valuing benefits is not the easiest thing to do. It's not always apples to apples, but I feel like we're very close to having something that that everybody will be totally confident in. Probation Services RFQ. You see the milestone date, approval of vendor at the March 28th meeting. The bids are obviously back. They have been reviewed by almost everybody. Well, maybe they've been reviewed by everybody, Melissa, but there hasn't been a total discussion yet, especially from Kim's viewpoint as clerk of the court, chief clerk. And so we will have that ready to go on the 28th. Snellville Development Authority reactivation. Tony, I think you've got everything ready to go tonight. It's on the agenda.
Everything's ready.
We can do it this evening.
Good. And Tom, you're ready to?
Ready to
We'll
go.
have appointments and everybody.
Yep.
Everything. And that obviously plays into another item here we'll talk about. Website update. I think VC3 is off to a very good start.
We had a meeting, telephone meeting with them today, and gave them some new direction. They've got a good start. We're basically telling them this thing needs to knock your socks off wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that's what they're working on.
Is all the input in from departments that you need?
I'll answer that as no, because we will be working with the departments all the way through the process, but at this current time, we've got what we need.
Okay. And there are also, in the budget, we are looking at potential IT services from VC3. We have a proposal, they call it City Advantage Lite, and we have disconnected those two items. I mean, the website will not be connected there. We're still negotiating on the other. So I think they'll do, from what I can tell, they're doing a very good job. Solid waste bid and ordinance, it will be in the Gwinnett Daily Post tomorrow or Wednesday, I believe, maybe Wednesday. 3/31 is the mandatory pre-bid.
Has everybody gotten their copy of that?
Sent that out last week.
It's all reviewed. Do you have any questions, anyone?
I called Gay today with a handful of questions.
We've looked it over, it's extremely complicated in just trying to accommodate all the ins and outs of how y'all operate. And so staff did a fabulous job piecing it together. The only little major, it isn't significant in total term, but we adjusted the term from a 5-year to a 2-year because of your 2-year terms of office. And so the constitutional requirement says you can't bind a future council. So it's got to have a self-renewing provision that goes on 2-year increments. It has a 2-year up to 10-year, which I think is what staff was trying to achieve. So we didn't really change that, but it goes in 2-year increments. It is
Because I was gonna
terminable.
say, would they even entertain a 2-year contract? Would anybody even entertain a 2-year contract?
If they're doing business with cities, they're gonna have to entertain a 2-year contract,
Okay.
because all of us are on that term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you want to discuss your
It
concerns or
predated.
no? You're
No,
good?
I mean, that's fine.
No, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I mean the ones you spoke with Gay about.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right.
Gay took care of me.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's got a shorter possibility built into it. There's a termination provision after 1 year from January, so, which is, always a good, ability to have. It's got notice, it's got some criteria that go
Well,
with
we
that.
just went from 5 years to 2 years, and I was just like.
Yeah, now that part of it is mandatory, it's not a,
Well, a lot of contracts were 1 year with auto renews.
Yeah,
And-
and that used to be, when everybody had 2-year terms, you had a 1-year maximum. So that's, once everybody went to 4-year terms, they went to 2-year maximum.
And Tony, I know you feel like there's a lot in there, but I think for a sanitation company, I don't think it's overly complex. I
Oh,
think
it was
I
excellent.
think it gives them a lot of
was-
room to, we'll get good numbers, and they'll be able to be relatively creative, I'd say.
The number part of it didn't seem to me to be too difficult to fill in, but it was I guess the summary of the way it was done, and it's clear, there was not confusion in the way the terms were written. But it was difficult to get it to that point, and it was really well done, so.
Some of the recycling stuff's changing a little bit, that's really the biggest things, where some of the folks now, you can put cardboard in, we're taking glass out, I mean, those kind of things.
And you got experience of operations, you can tell how the increments, the adjustments that were made, put in some penalties or requirements that just make your contract better. And it's your staff thinking is what it amounts to, so.
Yeah, we appreciate your and Chuck's guidance too on that. And there is mandatory pre-bid the last day of March. Old police station tied at the hip with the Snellville Development Authority reactivation, so that will be done this evening. Parliamentary Procedure Seminar, the reminder went out last week, and it will be completed on this Saturday.
Along with that, do we need to advertise
It's going up.
for the council and all that? Do we need to cause, do I need to call the meeting before you start speaking and then just adjourn after?
I would,
Yeah. Okay, just
I
wanna
have it
make
as
sure.
a specially called work session.
Now, what about if Board of Appeals and Planning Commission shows up with a quorum,
They're attending your meeting. It's called as a special.
so they don't?
So they're attending. They have to, you know, there needs to be a notice that you're having a public meeting. And I would list those people if they're going to attend.
Okay.
List them on the meeting notice.
I would, yeah, because it's a separate group. I would make sure we, you know, if you had a quorum with the other group, I'd list them on.
Yeah, that was the problem.
I put them on whether we have a quorum or not, that would have recovered.
Okay.
We may not, but if they're on there, we don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
The Youth Commission Adult Advisory, I know you had a good meeting early in March
Pass
and
that down.
working on an application.
Just want to actually give everybody a packet. Tom, you've seen this, you may want to pass that to Butch, but that's currently where we're at. Our advisory board met on the 3rd, and it was a great success. Amazing group of 15 volunteers who are so committed to students and young people and leadership and civic engagement. So I'm really excited about the possibilities that this will have for the city. I'm expecting that this will be one of the showpieces of the city, along with STAT and the Veterans Memorial, and this is going to be something that people talk about. And in the packet that I've given you, I've got mission, vision, goals. I'm not going to read everything to you, and I know you're disappointed that I slashed the PowerPoint presentation today, but the methodology is in here as well. If you have any questions or concerns about any of it, I'd love to hear some feedback from all of you, and all of this was discussed at the advisory board meeting already. The point that we're at right now, I actually have student application. We made some slight changes, but I do have a copy of the minutes that were discussed at the meeting. I'll go ahead and send that electronically to everyone so you can, Tom, I think you already have that. And I also have the contact list for my volunteers as well. What we're looking at next deadline, next due date, so to speak, is Thursday, March 31st. Right now, we're in the process of recruiting students within the schools and to complete the applications, and I'm using people on the advisory board to do that within the school systems. And also the 31st, we'll be meeting here at 6:30, the advisory board, and we're planning to review those applications and be looking at the students.
Have you gotten with Melissa on the room, reserving the room? This
Yes,
room,
the reservation is made.
reservation?
Thank you.
Okay, great.
My assistant, my director.
Christie, I was at that meeting.
Yes.
I have to say, I was
Aren't they awesome?
very impressed with the assemblage that you have, those people. They really
Yeah,
top.
very committed, and
Yeah,
a couple
this-
of them.
I agree with you. I think this thing is going to be a shining star for Snellville, and
think so,
you're
too.
to be commended on your involvement and your commitment to it. Thank you.
Miss Natalie Brown Van turned around at the end of that meeting and she said, you know, this is gonna be your legacy.
Very well.
Thought,
put.
I hope so. I hope it's Snellville's legacy.
It's certainly looking that way from where I'm at.
Yes.
It's tough. You're gonna have some star students, I tell you. I wouldn't have made it in high school based on these categories.
Well, actually,
Hell,
this is the
you didn't
old
even get your
stuff.
diploma.
I got my GED.
Just
Wow.
saying, we're not sure where you went in Athens and got that diploma. We just know you didn't get it.
You just drive down Baxter and leave your windows down, they'll throw one.
That's what I heard. Now, we've actually adjusted the GPA standards after the discussion. That was the original draft, but
Yeah.
it's lowered now.
Your teacher's cleared, you got reservations.
Clearly we want to accept people like Butch Sanders
He's from
into our
South Florida.
program for
They frame their
leadership.
GEDs
Has
down
great
there.
potential. So,
That's great. We are in the process of issuing citations to DDR for the tree replacement at the Kroger Shopping Center. We have talked to, as I said, we've talked to the prosecutor, and we're ready to go. Jason, I guess those will be ready to go out tomorrow?
Yeah, Officer McClure will drive them down to the registered agent, get them to sign it.
And they are,
Good deal.
how much per day and retroactive to day one? Is that
The
right?
date was set at April 30th for the violation, and then the
April
fine
30th, 15?
can be up to $250 per day retroactive,
Per day, per tree, or just per day?
just per day. The way it was decided was that they basically cleared without a permit, so they just need one permit, but still, it's over $60,000 the fine could be potentially.
That ought to get their attention. They have not wanted to play, they'll probably want to play starting Wednesday. Okay.
Can we get the hanging judge in for when they come?
Yeah, well, no, I got, we'll be okay.
I could be on that jury, known to convict a few people.
Senior Center and Community Usage, that's gonna be an ongoing, situation there. You know, is there a particular direction we need to head there, Roger and Krista? Anything, that we need to?
Well, I was just thinking relocating in the future, and then I guess repurposing the building to fit more with whatever vision we have.
Master
or
plan.
the master plan, I would say. But that's more, it's more ongoing. That's not-
depending on SPOSS.
Depending on the SPOS vote till November.
We do have.
So much of that depends on SPOSS.
We do have a meeting scheduled with a potential new recreation consultant. And that meeting is, let's see,
10 a.m. on a Monday.
it's the 29th at 2 o'clock. Is that,
That's also another date
March 29th,
that conflicts with some things.
court.
Yeah.
We don't have to go.
Okay, just making
just,
sure.
let's,
Just saying.
if you guys could kind of look, I know you've got the big meeting on the 31st.
2
If you guys
p.m.
could kind of look at that week, and maybe later in the day, if you could just look at the week of the 28th, and maybe we can reschedule that. But
And
here
what's the
again,
purpose of the recreation consultant?
with an engineering firm, engineering and planning firm. This one is precision planning.
I mean, but what are you gonna talk about?
We don't know what
do
you're
you-
talking about.
For recreation consultant, what-
Maximizing
the
what
park
we have,
and,
or
Yeah, I mean,
maximizing
it would be
resources.
for everything that goes on in the future. We've got things on the list like lake wall repair.
This is not for seniors.
it's not
Sorry, to me.
services.
Parks and Rec.
It's not
Yeah.
services, it's,
This
Well,
for
part of
Parks
the
and Rec,
discussion
period.
is the next phase of
audits.
Briscoe Park
Okay.
development, which is a rec center, possibly a rec/senior center. I mean, just a discussion that needs to take place. So
3/29.
if you'll just look at that week
2
and,
p.m. Okay. They don't want to meet on April Fool's Day, huh?
when's that?
That's Friday.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm available all day.
all day, April 1st? Okay.
Yeah, we're off.
Roger, that be,
That's my
You're
day.
not gonna say April Fool.
No, that's my day.
I
I'm
can
taking
tell you
it.
right now.
You referred to a
It's
big
one of our
meeting on the
snow days.
31st? What meeting
April
is that?
1st.
Christie's
That's my
advisory.
youth
meeting.
commission
Oh,
at
yeah.
6:30. Yeah, that's at
That's a good
6:30.
one.
Right.
We'll be
Okay.
going
let me
to
see what I can do there.
review applications. But that's all the work is before that, so. Meetings, easy part.
Are we doing anything for non-senior recreation at that facility yet?
Non-senior recreation at that facility yet, no.
The quarterly town hall meetings, there's so much else going on.
We gotta have, you know what,
Let's
though,
have
we
another
really, I
meeting.
really think it's important for us to do one. What, and I
But
think
we
need
put that
to
off
set-
till May.
Yeah,
didn't
we need to set a date for it and make it a hard date and then make sure no ifs, ands, or buts, we do it. Anybody wanna, let's do this. Let's all have a date by the March 28th work session. Okay, let's discuss that.
Did we decide Tuesday or Thursday was better?
I think we went with either one, Bobby. I don't think we narrowed it to one or the other. I think Thursdays are less city stuff going on Thursdays than Tuesdays.
Thursday.
So I think Thursday would be better, but if we can come up with a date at our 28th work session, then we will definitely have it and start advertising it and getting the word out on it for whatever date that is in May. I would suggest you probably make it later in May, because the first part of May is all graduations and a lot of that stuff going on the first couple weeks of May. Am I right, Christie? Isn't that what happens?
Either way, really, Thursday, May 19th pops out,
I'll be gone.
well, then it's perfect.
Yeah. Have it then.
The first, yeah.
We're gonna schedule a cat fight
That
right
was
after this meeting.
That was meant affectionately, geez, you guys. It's a rough crowd.
Well, then leaves the 26th.
And the 26th is definitely more of the graduation time period. 26th through 28th and 29th, that's post-planning graduation.
Does that get better or worse?
Well, for me, it's, I mean, you know, it's all the same. 12th or 19th are really probably the dates. The first Thursdays of the month are gonna be youth commission standard at 6
So
p.m.
the 12th and 19th, why don't you just, on the 28th, let me know which one's better for us. The most of us can get to one of those dates, which we'll have it, okay?
For information purposes, Mayor, May 19th is the URA and DDA meetings.
That doesn't matter, though.
Right.
They're in the afternoon, so that won't.
4 and 5.
Yeah, well, this will be at 7 or 7:30 in the evening, so, okay? So let's shoot for May 19th. If anyone has a problem with it, let us know. If by the 28th we don't have a major problem, then we'll proceed with May 19th. How's that?
Like
Everybody
how
okay with
everything's
that?
starting to get scheduled around school. I appreciate that.
Oh,
Don't
May's
get
just
used to it.
always a tough.
It is, yeah, and college graduations tend to be the week
Yeah.
earlier, so.
All right, I'm sorry, Butch.
No, the Snellville Citizen Academy had a good discussion with the department heads about this. And I think we can do it, I never ask anybody to talk more than 20 minutes. You lose people's attention then, questions and answers afterwards. We feel like we can do it in 4 90-minute sessions. If we could do that either the month of September or the month of October. We can get through all of our public services. We can get through, I like to start out by giving them a little bit of history, not a 2-hour presentation from Mr. Ewing, but a little bit of history, and then getting into the form of government, administration, finance, the other services, and I think we can make it informative and keep their interest, but I think 90 minutes a session is probably it. I'll have a layout for you after I have a chance to get back with the department heads, make sure we're good, but is September a good month for everybody? School's back in session. You wait for October and it's kind of late. I think we could do 4 sessions in September. The makeup of the class, I think it's very important. I think we could do 30 people. If each council member could recruit 5 people, and a variety of folks, folks who,
I have 15 on my list.
might have to work on a little bit. But last time the class roster I looked at was a little small, and I think we could take care of 30 people. So if y'all would consider something like that.
So we're gonna set that up for September classes?
Yep. 4 weeks in September. And maybe we will miss, if the youth leadership group is gonna be the first Thursday, maybe we start that Thursday after Labor Day, and maybe we'll miss you guys. All right, the next two items are complete.
Let me, real quick, the guide, they had agreed to do a couple of banners for us for the park. They're complete and they're gonna be delivered this week. And along with that, Lisa and them at the park have agreed to put the cop cab flyer things in the Snellville Days bags. We're gonna provide them since we had a bunch of them new and printed, so they're gonna place one in every Snellville Days bag that goes in.
The sign ordinance update, right-of-way signs and penalties, still on track for an April 2016 draft for review. Investigation of possibilities for Baker's Rock, I think it was Kurt that mentioned a possible public tour. So I've got with Ms. Hassel and the rec staff, and we have set that up for March 31st at 10 o'clock. We'll meet at the rec center. I'm not sure, Brian, if you put that on the website or not, but we'll need to know how many folks are going. We really need to limit that to about 12 or 15 people. And I don't know how many people are interested, but you guys talked about setting that up, so we're ready to go.
I'll
You
provide
guys
you a
not
little
ever
booklet.
work?
I'll provide you all a little booklet that shows all the different models of hubcaps. So that, you'll be able to tell the 58 Buicks from the 73 Chevelles and all that stuff that you walk through them.
Some of us are still
Are
driving.
any of those
automobiles.
hubcaps in danger?
They're not in danger, but some of them have bullet holes in them.
Roger has a couple of those in his driveway.
The UDO, it continues.
No, I do.
They are definitely focusing on the town center and the town center overlay. So that will probably be taken first, and you will hear more about that over the course of the next few weeks.
Did you skip the teacher internship?
What's that?
The teacher internship program with the city of Snellville, did you skip over that?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just kind of delayed.
Yeah, keep
Until,
skipping. He did.
Youth
Okay.
leadership.
It's sitting there for a little bit
Okay.
while we get some other things going.
The
Energy in the youth.
Charter Review Committee, I
That'll
think we'll have the full appointments tonight.
Correct. I have my nominations tonight, if you also approve them.
Still have the same deadline for completion. City Asset Maintenance, have not done anything on that in the last couple of weeks. I'll double check and see where we are there as far as the vehicle pricing. Complete for King Day and Senior Center fees. Fireworks, I know that we have a draft that's being reviewed. I don't think anything has come out completely from the legislature yet. So I know they're down to, what, 13 more days? Something like that.
24.
Wow.
And the 24th is the.
24th is, 5 more days.
5 more days.
28th, so.
We'll see where that goes. And Senior Center R&D, it really kind of gets back to that last item. Not had a chance to take any site visits, but we'll might be able to catch that on our way to Avalon.
All right, so that ends up our update on the ongoing projects. Wine sampling in grocery stores. I had this put on the work session for discussion. Let me give you a little background and tell you my thoughts. I was at the grand opening. I wasn't at the ribbon cutting, but I was at the grand opening of Fresh Market. And I ran into the manager and introduced myself, and he brought to my attention that he was at the Swanee store, then he was at another store, but he told me where, I'll think of it in a minute, and this is third Fresh Market in Georgia. As previous two markets, on a Tuesday evening, they would have a wine sampling of a particular wine. And he said, and he brought to my attention, he said, I can't do that here. My corporate officer said that the ordinances in Snellville do not allow it. So I checked into it with Jason, and basically, we do have that, because Nanico does it. But when we wrote the ordinance back a couple of years ago, we restrained it by, the restraint in the current one says that wine selling must be your major business, okay? But we did that so that we kept the convenience stores out of sampling wine all day long, every, So, that also got the supermarkets, they can't do it either, okay? So what I'm asking is there council wish, or council would consider redoing that ordinance and restricting it by size? And we could restrict it by saying you have to be 20,000 square feet, or something like that, so that the grocery stores or bigger people, like Fresh Market, would be able to sample wine, or is it something you just wanna leave the way it is? I don't see the harm out of a store like Fresh Market, and if we make it large enough, then we're still not gonna have to worry about the convenience stores on the corners doing it with Mad Dog 2020 or whatever they would do it with. I threw it out. I asked Tony about it. Tony thinks it can be done, the modifications, so that, we could be accommodating to Fresh Market. No one else has asked. I don't think anybody else is doing it, but they do have a very extensive wine
Yes.
department. It's pretty.
So rather than just their grand openings, they have at their other stores, they do wines
Yes, on
as a
Tuesday.
periodic. Okay,
Every week.
So they do it every week?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They do it in their other stores, and he was surprised when the corporate told him he wasn't gonna be able to do it this time. So I told him I would check into it. What is the
Can we get-
I
pleasure of
love the
council?
idea.
Can we get a list, if we're trying to do like Fresh Market sizing up, of what stores that would include as far as square
Well, if
footage
you think
goes?
about it, it'd be Fresh Market, Kroger, Publix, that'd be about it.
Well, Fresh Market's about 20,000
Well, what about
square feet.
Sam's, Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
No, they'd be big enough.
Target?
Sprouts, in or out?
Target doesn't
Sprouts
sell
is
wine.
out.
Huh?
Sprouts is out of the
Sprouts.
city.
Wine, I don't believe.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And how big is that racetrack that's over there?
It's not 20,000.
Sprouts, is-
Yeah.
we don't worry about Sprouts anyway.
Sprouts,
It's out
no,
of the
they're
city.
out.
Sprouts is outside the city.
Yeah, we
You
don't
could
worry about
restrict
that.
it by use too to grocery stores, I mean, it doesn't have to be just a size limitation.
Well, you got the Shell station across the street from Quick Trip. They sell one.
They're not big enough.
Yeah, but they're not a grocery store.
That wouldn't be big enough.
Right, they're not big, that's why I'm saying is.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to pick the
Yeah.
places that sell
Right.
wine,
Yeah.
Right.
what's gonna be the repercussions when we,
Right.
because Nico's isn't a grocery store either.
Yeah, but he had a special order.
But he's,
Right.
100% of his sale is, thing is wine.
Well, there's a few nails places in the area too that have discussed serving wine.
Yeah, but they're covered
That's,
under.
that's under a
And that
different
is co-
ordinance.
that is
That's
under a
covered.
different
Yeah.
ordinance. Just,
Only had one application. for
just
that.
one.
Did they ever do anything?
No,
Or two?
They moved on.
VIP does not do it.
VIP.
And they're not even
Well, they
VIP
did,
anymore.
they
They're not,
did,
yeah.
they just recently turned in an application after.
After
they
2
were
years.
Doing it, but trying to do it, there was.
So I've gone in there and they've never
Should we,
offered me
can we go this far and have Tony explore how we could do it to, with the least amount of damage?
Yes.
Okay. Then, let's see,
I'll get you a list too.
annexation update, Bobby, you asked for this?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of, we had basically 5 different annexation areas that we were looking at. And I guess just for the sake of, so we're all assured, we're pretty much not looking forward at any annexation of any of those 5 areas anymore, is that correct?
No, I think we're still looking at residentially, the Brookwood district, I think we still have,
You think we are we doing anything towards that end?
No.
And that was really, because my question to Butch was, what are we doing? And he said, I'm not real sure of the direction. And don't let me quote you if I'm misstating it, Butch. But really, I don't think Butch has gotten good guidance from where to go now because of the other stoppage that we've done on the other stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate this being on here. If that's an interest, then we could need to
Well, again, we've talked about, we met with some homeowners over there in one subdivision, Barbara, but I think Bobby was there, and you and I were there, I think Dave was too. And those people have shown interest. I think that the residential areas over in the Brookwood section, I think we need to expand into those areas and see if there's interest. I think we need to look at that. I have no problem with 78. I mean, I don't know.
I have no problem with 78 out towards Rosebud. We really need to even some of those
Right,
lines.
we got some places out there. There's a couple of those developers I don't think the police department want, but, am I right? And that's the turn red, you not your head. He gets redder.
Well, I just think that we needed, because of it, it's kind of taken a little bit of a stall here. I think we need to regroup that and redefine it like we did before, create the maps and say, here, Butch, here's what we want to do as a council with 2 new members. I think we
I think that's a very good idea. With everything else going on, it has gone on the side, it's gone on the back burner.
we don't let that completely die if we
I
don't
agree.
have to.
Well, and maybe with everything else we've got going on, we just look at the maps again and just pick out some
What?
smaller areas.
Let's do that. Let's put it back on the schedule for bring the maps back out, because Christie and Roger were not on council then, and we may not want to have those maps or priorities. They're prioritized by others.
Yeah.
So, well, we have them at the 328 work session. We'll look at it again, and then we can make a decision, maybe at the following meeting, after everybody gets a chance to absorb it, which way we want to go.
So we're talking about the Rosebud area, and we're talking about Mountain View predominantly? Okay, Mountain View to
Dogwood.
Dogwood.
The other side of,
It's
yeah.
really
the other
You
side
have
of
the
it.
Carrington and then,
Toward
Dogwood
In and
and
out.
Lane,
Yeah.
right.
yeah, the in and out from block to block, it seems.
You know, it would be nice to have Brookwood, that area in the city. Okay. Art Commission update. You asked for that?
Arts Commission, attending a couple of the meetings the last few months. I've been the liaison. Arts Commission has gone through several transitions, and they're coming back very strong. Gotten some new applicants, including Carrie. Where'd she go? She just ran out. So we're hoping to add a few new people onto the Arts Commission. There were concerns actually about the sculpture that the commission raised before the actual sculpture was delivered and placed on the corner of Oak Road and 78. And they've now decided that those are no longer concerns that they have. They like where the sculpture is. So just wanted to share the process that they'd been through with that with you. And,
And as soon as she's done, then I got something
okay,
to say.
and feel free, it is something that, this is someone who is on the cutting edge of art. So
Is that because the stainless steel is sharp?
I'm just,
I think they're over the edge.
We just
keep an open mind is all I'm sharing with you.
And again, if I'm incorrect, please, by all means, tell me. Don't hold back, David.
I'll do my best.
I thought at one time, we really, as a council, was going to make the decision whether or not a piece of art was going to appear within our city. We ran into this is almost deja vu of,
With that beautiful art piece down at the
Just-
Snellville Garden.
I said I was taking care of it, Tom. And I was somewhat shocked and somewhat surprised that it appeared there somewhat without, because how I heard of it was, hey Bobby, I was riding down 78. What the heck? And I'm sorry, that was the conversation. And I was under the impression that we, as a group, would at least be somewhat involved in that before planting of artwork would be done. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Is that something that I need to address with Arts Commission? Do we need to address that in terms of
I don't know where that, I
reworking?
don't know where that fell, but,
Okay.
that fell through the cracks somewhere, I really don't. I don't ever
Yeah.
remember the Arts Commission, I understand, I remember them talking about buying one, but I don't ever remember a presentation or a.
Well, and I remember Kurt at one of his updates saying that they selected a artist, but we never saw anything.
Right.
Never
I
saw the
think what-
actual sculpture and never, did
So-
you see a plan as to
No.
where it was going to go?
No, we had
Ever?
talked about the
talked
plan.
about
We
it.
had talked about
We
it.
had talked about it.
Okay, so the discussion
But
is
I
kind
But
of,
think
not
the-
what was gonna go there. I
Okay.
think Eric said, oh, by the way, they're delivering the thing. I went, what?
surprise.
And next thing I knew,
Okay.
it was blowing in the wind,
Well-
literally.
So, the takeaway from my portion of that
We want-
conversation
oh,
is,
we want more input.
in the future, we need to make sure we don't have a three-peat. Because once, shame on me, twice, I'm not sure what you say when three times out.
I think the Arts Commission is under the misconception that they pick something, they're
Well-
supposed to be an advisory committee, and I think that got lost. And I
Right,
think,
and
we're gonna
that's-
advise you, there it is.
Right, that's where the
It's a done deal.
transition is
Yeah.
occurring right now,
And I
and I
think
think they're
Brittany
getting
needs to
to
be
the
made,
point
yeah.
where we really had in mind for what we had envisioned for
Because
the
let's
arts.
face it, the wall on
Right.
78,
Well, that was approved by council,
no, it wasn't.
was it not? It went through planning
It
commission.
was planned, originally, it was supposed to look like block.
Supposed to look like
Stone.
rock.
Supposed to make it look like stone. And then that was too labor
That's
intensive.
right.
And then they said, no,
That's
we're
right.
gonna do this, and the next thing, the headless horseman showed up.
They had to spice it
Not that there's
right.
anything wrong with that.
March 19th, we're bringing in some student artists as well to help out with that, so
Tell 'em to
I'm
bring
hoping
rollers.
that will be
Yeah.
improvement.
But I think they need to, I think they need to
So much fun
understand.
being the liaison of this commission. Thank you for that, Mayor.
Christie,
I can
under
deliver
fire,
this
you know, you'll be
diplomatically.
great. You'll be.
It's cool. No.
You didn't have what we had for 4 years, honey.
All right.
I know.
Do we have any correspondence from our
I was gonna
attorney?
say,
We don't, but I do have some things to report, litigation.
This is fun loving.
In the exec section? Okay, do you have any correspondence?
No.
Nothing from the art commission?
No,
Apparently, they didn't correspond.
no.
Mayor, since
yes.
you didn't follow the work session agenda
What did I miss?
for the second meeting in a row,
What did I miss?
Not that anybody's counting.
not that we're counting
Did we
or
review
anything.
the agenda
We didn't review the agenda.
for the meeting?
If we could just run through and just make sure no one had any questions.
Thank you for pointing out my deficiencies, though. I
I'm
appreciate
glad,
that.
happy to help.
Maybe next time we have a bigger crowd for you.
See who
We'll
I can
advertise it
help.
better.
Y'all come, we're gonna catch Tom in another one.
Yep.
Wow.
I promise you, it won't be the last time. Okay, well, on the regular agenda, does anyone have anything to discuss? Obviously, Ms. Penta does.
Well,
Just
I'm
gonna
just,
say no.
for the, for, under new business, for the redevelopment authority and the resolution,
Yes.
those two, that's just a motion and a vote?
It is.
That's all we're
There
doing
are two
now.
resolutions that are written. The first just reinstates the body that, it's probably in existence. It appears there are some signs of it. We just don't have any members chosen. But we're just getting them back because they're a very useful tool, particularly with regard to citywide projects. It's the only
Ghost
authority that extends your full border. And so it reinstates it. It gives the staff authority to continue to update with the DCA that is available for redevelopment purposes. There are educational institutions that use that for bonding capacity. And so it can be a useful tool if you have a college come to town. And so there are certain things that it could do from a bond standpoint, but from an operating standpoint, it can sell and negotiate transactions, which is the second item. The mayor has a section in that where it will be an overlapping appointment of the DDA to the extent that it can be. You have two vacancies as a result of that. Mr. Scott is not a resident. You have to be a resident to be on the development authority.
And the other one is that I'm not the liaison to the Development Authority. David is. I'll remain as the liaison to the Downtown Development Authority. I'm not the Snellville Development.
Dave's a voting member.
Yes.
So this is not new, it's just reaffirming the old bylaw. And it was really instituted in 1983 in the city, so it gets it back into operating forms. The next one is identical to what has already been discussed and has already been published with it was targeted to do the URA, but their powers were limited and their territory was limited. So this is the exact same transaction of allowing the development authority to step in and market property. And what it does for us, for your citizens, is it gives you the ability to negotiate a higher price. It takes you outside the form that the city's restricted to be an auction type of sale of property. So it's very, very, very helpful and very useful to us.
Okay.
The transaction as a whole is in those documents that were sent to you. All of that's not being approved, just the resolution authorizing it to move forward. Then the DDA or the Development Authority then has to come alongside and approve all the documents that are on their side of the transaction.
Okay.
And so, this is just sort of first steps.
In the email today that you sent, all those.
All those, yes.
Anything else on the regular agenda?
First Baptist does not need to use the stage, so they can take it off.
Right, we'll take that off the, you have long, how long is your exec session today?
I'd say it's probably a little more than 5 minutes, but not much longer. It'll be short, but I wouldn't hold up the.
Okay, all right, then we'll take a motion to adjourn the work session.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll adjourn, we'll reconvene in 5 minutes in this chamber.
Excuse me, miss.